Hey Clashers, with the new Tunnel 18 update, throwers have become incredibly strong. The reason for this is the new level where they have received a buff of 300 hit points. If you're now breaking this down into hit point per housing space, this is one of the biggest increases from all of those different troop levels we have in the update. So long story short, throwers are really powerful right now. The only challenge is to get them through the base in a controlled way so they can destroy everything and outrange even some of the craziest defenses. With that being said, let's dive into some attacks where I can showcase for you how strong they are versus Tunnel 18 bases. And a really big shout out goes to Wolfie for actually sharing all of those attacks because he's doing incredible right now with those throwers in Legends. He has gotten 297 today on offense and has shared a couple of those attacks versus those bases. And he has attacked as well bases with proper new defense, which means the new defense, the new Super Wizards towers over here as well. It is kind of crazy. Obviously, because we have just only today received the new seasonal defenses, there's no new season defense just yet, but I feel like with how big the overkills typically are, that would not really change much. But let's take a look anyways, because the fireball usually is just to set up pathing, which means he really tries to make sure that the thrower army composition can only walk one direction. And this is the key thing here. For him, he has taken down this bottom compartment, which is good to go then for his throwers. The next step is to get them into the base. Something which is kind of maybe unusual if you might think about it for a smash attack is not using the earthquake boots. And this is now where I really want to highlight, and we're then going to go deeper into how you set up the attack and such. But first up, I really want to highlight that it's such a crucial thing that you are picking the single different pieces from the strategy as you like to play them. One example is the totem spell right now. Opinions go left, right, everywhere, to be honest. Some say it's the most broken spell ever, some say it's just strong. Volvi, for example, doesn't like the totem spell too much. He prefers the freezes over the totem, for example. But this means, what I just said, you can just replace the freezes with the totems. If you are one of those players who think, hey, totem is the most broken thing in the game. So just feel free to adjust those things. As well, he prefers the non-earthquake boots because a lot of things just split. If the king is in the core like here, a lot of things just split everywhere and it feels like a huge mess. Instead, he prefers the more controlled way, where yes, sometimes the throwers have to go through walls, but with the DPS increase of the new level, they're doing that really quick. And you can see again, you have the throwers on the far right side, which cannot really be stopped, to be honest, because they're just really powerful. You have on the left side the queen with still the action figure alive. And this base is just crushed. I mean, this base has no chance whatsoever, and this is the first 3-star. But now, getting that out of the way, that if you have little adjustments, feel free to do them and really make sure that it feels like this is the throw army which works best for you. Because the core, the army, the approach is still the same. But if you're replacing, for example, freezes with totems and such, or something, if you would ask me for an adjustment, if you're using the Phoenix, I would prefer the Rocket Spear with the Electro Boots. But again, this is personal preference. I specifically asked why he's using the shield, and he said he just prefers it that his Royal Champ moves quicker through the base and can support with funneling and such. And that's completely fine. And this is the cool thing. Even though the thrower strategy, if you copy it, is in the core the same, you can move small little pieces and really make it your own on how it fits your personal playstyle. But with that now out of the way, let's deep dive into how you set up the pathing, how you set up everything so the throwers are sticking together and smashing bases. And as we have just discussed in the attack before, you really want to make sure those throwers are sticking together, which means the fireball is mostly having one purpose, and that is setting up a direction, setting up pathing for your throwers so they're not getting distracted. Because of their long range, they really like sometimes to go the wrong direction, go completely not how you would like to have it planned. So for this, for example, you could take down the left side corner, set up with solid pathing. As I said, this is the number one priority. But there is then a secondary objective as well, and that is taking down a couple of those key defenses. The biggest priority for you are Revenge Tower. This thing is just, that thing is scary. This really is, it feels like even more powerful than what we had when the Eagle Artillery was added. The Eagle Artillery in the end was really bad, to be honest, but in the beginning when it was added, it was a really strong defense. And this is the same feeling now we have with the Revenge Tower. And the second thing you want to take down is the Clan Castle. And that's exactly what he's trying to go for. So he's investing now the furnaces to speed up the Warden Walk, which is a really nice thing because this means you can do even longer Warden Walks and like you won't have any time issues. So the furnaces are helping quite a bit. The next thing is the raid spells. They are used in a flexible way, which means you can use them for the Warden charge, but you can use them as well for the throwers if you need the power. On this one now, he has taken down those defenses and now sets up the fireball to the core. I don't know what exactly he's doing right now, but he's kind of sleeping a little bit, so the Clan Castle is still getting lured. But hey, he has set up the pathing, right? Like because the Clan Castle is a regular building as well, throwers could target it. But really, you can now see, starting with throwers down here, they cannot go anywhere else. The pathing which he was able to provide for them, and even get the Revenge Tower, is chef's kiss. Perfect. Really, really nicely done. And now it's all about the push. As well, by the way, just a side note, do not use the Meteor Golem on defense. Supercell has pretty much killed that use case with denying the fact that they can merge together. And with that ability gone, it's not really worth it anymore to run them on the defensive side. At least I would personally not recommend it. So yeah, just don't do it. Back to the attack. We now have to jump to get into the next compartment. And this is now where the important thing starts as well. And this is how he's utilizing his wall breaks to make up for having no Earthquake Boots on this king. Because you really would think that you're running into a lot of time issues. Doing a long Warden charge and having no Earthquake Boots for the back end, that sounds like a horrible deal. But what he does, he always makes sure that with those wall breaks, he gets into the next compartments, make sure that he's opening those things up. And with the long range of the throwers, he's good to go. Using a freeze so the Warden stays alive, he's keeping that rage effect. As well, something which he did is on the back end, he used the Royal Champion. That has done two things. First off, he was able to already start with the cleanup process. This minion took down all of those buildings around here. Another minion now coming in here for the next storage. This is the first thing. Starting an early cleanup. The second thing, which is quite nice, on this back end, there was a fire spitter, the same as the poison tower. He doesn't need to worry about those anymore because they are already gone. So do not always just use the Royal Champion blindly next to your thrower dive. Instead, try to sometimes as well pick off some buildings. But we now had 2 poison tower bases. And I know if you're getting to mid to lower trophy ranges within Legends, raid tower bases are more common. The cool thing now about this is fireball attacks are actually even better with those style of bases. So let's take a look. And this style of base is actually quite common, which means we have this heavy stacked one side and then just this ring around the town hall, pretty much being the setup of the other side of the base. With having such an amount of defenses in one place, it is obviously a really, really nice thing for any fireball attacker. This is well why he has the Tesla farm down here, and this is why he has this really awkward sweeper, which is apparently still a thing. I don't know why, but whatever, you take those. I guess because dragon attacks are... You have to say how it is, the dragons are the biggest losers of the last update. Like, throwers have to be one of the biggest winners. I would do a top 3 strategy video really soon, but based on what I've seen, throwers are insane right now. But dragons, they feel like really way worse because they were completely carried by the Royal Champion charges. And Royal Champion charges will be the weakest they have ever been. They won't be bad, don't get me wrong, but they will be the weakest that they have ever been because of the bomb hive. I know people in the mid to lower trophy ranges might use the Hero Bell, but it's like the same prediction as what I had with the Poison Towers. In High Legends, I said everyone will run Poison. It happened exactly like that. I will predict the same thing now with the Season Defense. In High Legends, pretty much everyone is going to use the hero, like the bomb. Because this thing is just insane. Let's get back to the attack because something really crucial happened right now. And that is he delivered the fireball, but because he's not having an ice block spell in this army composition, his warden died. And by the way, I would not change this. I would stick with no ice block because in 90% of your attacks, it is just bad. Instead, you should learn the timings on when you can send the fireball, which is when your warden is stuck on a non-defensive building. This is where you have to throw the fireball. And that is a skill you have to learn, but it just saves you another spell, which for Channel 18 in Legend mode, you need those spells. It is really crucial. Back to the attack again. He now is doing this attack without having the Warden. And I really just want to show you this because it just showcases how stupid strong those throwers are now. Because he literally does this attack now without one of those key things for the army composition, which is the rage jam. Keeping those throwers raged up, they deal so much damage. But at the same time, there is no base left. Obviously, the fireball having high value here helps a lot. But the base just slowly disappears. It melts in front of your eyes because you have the king, you have the royal champ with the rocket spears. It is kind of crazy. We still have as well Yetis alive. We still have the king alive from the queen ability. Even up to this point, some clones. This is just insane. I mean, throwers are going to be one of the top strategies in the game. And I feel like everyone who's going to be afraid of getting baited by royal champion charges might switch to throwers. They're not easy, but if you're able to pick them up, it is worth it. That is guaranteed. But since I believe that poison towers are, if you're pushing higher in Legends, are more common and as well are harder to attack because you have less fireball value usually, we're going to take a look at those instead again. Because you have just seen on Rage Tower bases, if you're delivering the fireball, even with the Warden dying, you're still going to triple. Like, Rage Tower bases are completely free with this setup. With that being said though, we now have again a Poison Tower base. And for this plan now, you have to know, the Town Hall itself is no defense anymore. The cool thing now here is that with this being said, the Town Hall being a defense, what he's trying to do, he's trying to get a fireball onto the multi-year tower. Because with that, you're getting again those key defenses. The top 2 priority. Do you remember? Yes. Clan Castle and the Revenge Tower. Those 2 things are your biggest nightmares. And with this fireball, you get both of that. So as soon as he's getting Tesla farm, obviously was not expected, but as soon as you're getting those Tesla out, as soon as you get at least one of the expos out, you're good to go, and you can just set up the fireball and get really a lot of value. So what he does here, it takes again a look of where the Warden is heading next. Are there any more Tesla popping up? Nope. Now the fireball. This is now the next thing, I guess, which Wolfie has not known so far, but a lot of those buildings have now more hit points, which means a lot of times you need to have the double earthquake in the middle. You cannot spread the earthquakes anymore as much as you did with Channel 17. Just so you're aware, like, those defenses have a lot of hit points. So he could have taken down all of that. Even with that being said though, he's now sending in the Royal Champ again on the back end to have quickly some back end access, and he already started the cleanup process on the top side there, as well as triggering the Poison Tower on the back end. His throwers are now pushing through. He has the king on the outside with the snake bracelet, which is obviously giving a huge push, especially with the siege barracks together. In this as well, where you have to be a little bit flexible when it comes down to the king positioning. If you feel like you need to have a huge push and the outside is not as stressful to funnel, go ahead and send the king into the core. But if you have an outside where there is, for example, this ricochet cannon and such, and you need a stronger funnel on the outside, go ahead and send the king on the outside. The queen, typically though, is always going with the core push, because having the as well action figure in the core or on the back end of the base with your throwers is a game changer. That is crazy good. With that though, this entire base is just gone. I feel like those throwers, they don't even die anymore. They are now so crazy tanky, with like having the 300 hit points more, which is quite a lot for a damaged troop. As well, they're relying on the healers, which have as well received the new level. So yes, throwers right now are incredible in the game. They're not easy to pick up, which means if you're planning to play them, get ready, because it will take some time. It's not like, oh, by the way, this strategy is broken, use it, and you won't triple the first 2 attacks, and you will be, oh, like, no, this strategy is really not good. It will take some time. It could take a week, for example, for you to really get the hang of how you funnel them where to fireball, because those are the most crucial things. If you can control throwers, they will do the job for you, but you need to push them in the right direction. That is the key thing. With that being said, again, thank you so much for Wolfie for sharing those attacks. I will do my top 3 strategy video really soon, but before that, I really want to cover the throwers. I have as well on my list a fireball strategy with the Yetis and Rocket Loons, as well as the number 1 strategy still, big spoiler, but hey, Root Riders are still number 1. No big surprise, I know. But still, we will cover those first, and then on the weekend, we'll take a look at the top 3 strategies. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya, and bye-bye.